Hello. I might be here by myself, am I? Let's try this. Can you all hear me? Any thumbs up here? Let me know you're with me here. Lovely. Claire McGurn's here. Hasn't hit the wine yet. Not so bad. Siobhan, how's it going? Great. We'll make a start now in a couple of minutes here. We'll just give all the Fermanagh people that few extra minutes that they usually need. Great to see everyone in. Is that Derek Ray? No, that's Cal Fee. I thought it was Derek Ray in there. Great stuff. I'll just give it another wee minute, make sure everyone's set up. How's everybody doing? Emma and Sharon, Donna, how's it all going? See even Joanne McNulty's watching, but she's probably sitting with a glass of wine watching. Not by herself. Okay, anybody nervous or anything, try not to get too worried. Do your best with it. I'm just going to run through a couple of wee things here. You want to be doing all these exercises with a wee bit of caution and all, but not overly cautious. All right. So first thing is to do it right. Just because I might suggest a harder version of an exercise doesn't mean you have to do the harder version. So it's all about getting the basics right. And surprisingly, the fitter you are, or the more into your training you are, probably the more you need to hear that, because you want to make everything harder. But make sure you're doing it well. Okay. Take bad habits out of it. Take a wee step back to take 2 steps forward. Take breaks if we need it. You don't really need anything. A comfortable enough mat, possibly a cushion if you like, and a wee glass of water or something, or a glass of wine there like Joanne. What else do we need to... Just come back again into that basic thing. Just drop the pride of making it harder. You're not trying to compete with anybody beside you. Just concentrate on doing things well. We're going to focus today mostly on staying on the mat. We'll be on our back, on our hands and knees, seated position a wee bit, and then on Saturday we'll do a lot more standing work. So we'll phase it and we'll break the things that we're doing in two between today and Saturday. So if you're finding some of it challenging today or hard to get your head around, some of the wee exercises or some of the movements, if you find them hard to get your head around, don't get too flustered. Watch the video back after and go through the wee bits that you found difficulty with. And if you're still having trouble, just let me know. That's what I'm here for. And that's it really. It's all done at your own risk. If you have back trouble, I mentioned that in the group, if you have back trouble or any injuries like that long term and you're unsure, Pilates will typically help a bad back, but be careful with it. Okay, so if there's something you feel like, I don't know if you should try that, don't try it. We're looking for it to be challenging, but not painful. Okay, so don't confuse that wee bit of ab pain as back pain. You know, we might feel some work in some pain in your abs or backside, but that's what we're looking for. Okay, so before we start, hopefully this wee microphone's clear enough and all. I know we're working with my more mumble too, but if somebody gives me a wee thumbs up just and we'll make a start. Can you all hear me okay? What time are we at? Coming up to 8. Okay, there's a thumbs up. All right, so let's make a start. We're starting with burpees here. We're not, obviously. We're starting on our back. And straight away, I'll just check in at the neck position. Okay, so with the neck, we don't want the head to be strained away back. So we're not looking way back behind us. Chin tucked in gently, creating a nice length through the back of your neck. Okay, so depending on the size of your shoulders and size of your back and how your posture is, that might be really uncomfortable to find that straight neck position. Okay, so if you need to, you might be better with a cushion here. So it just changes the angle slightly. That's totally up to you. All right, so a wee bit of trial and error. So from here, we're going to take our feet together. So feet tight together. So heels and toes together, and then we're going to open up our toes away from each other, and then open up your heels in line with your toes. So that's as wide as we need to have our feet. Conscious now of what your feet are doing, what the weight spread through your heel, your big toe, your wee toe, of both feet, okay? And then take a wee glance up. Your knees should be hip width apart as well, not dropping out to the sides or not bowing in together. Now, one of the main things to focus on, and I think we're starting on the back here today because I think it's the easiest place to get this position right. If you take your hands onto your hips or your pelvis here, we're going to just gently rock the pelvis forward. Imagine you're doing it with your hands, like screw the pelvis forward and then roll it back. So we did this, hopefully you've watched the wee basics video that was posted in the group the other day. Roll forward and roll back. We did this in a standing position. So just keep that wee roll going. As you roll the pelvis forward, you should feel your lower back arch up off the mat. As you roll the pelvis back, you'll feel your lower back coming down towards the mat. We'll just go with that a few more times. I know it takes a few people. It'll come very quickly to some people. Other people will just find that a wee bit hard to get their head around. You're not lifting up and down off the ground or anything. You just roll the pelvis forward and roll back. Once you're ready, just between those two extremes, find a kind of a halfway position. So find a neutral position between those two points. Now this is the important part. So we're going to try and engage the pelvic floor muscles here. So if we find that neutral position, and just draw your belly button down towards the spine slightly, like we're pulling in for a tight top button in jeans or something along those lines. But if you've your two fingers of each hand here on top of your hip bones, so keeping the belly button drawn down and in, bring your two fingers in an inch and down an inch. There's a wee bit of muscle there that you should feel just slightly tight. Now we're not squeezing that tight to the point where you can't breathe. It's just switched on. That's your pelvic floor muscles. So we want to keep those engaged pretty much the whole way through the session. So now that we're well set up there, a quick recap if you need to because it's important. Roll the pelvis forward, roll back, roll forward, roll back. Find a halfway point and then draw the belly button down and in slightly. And you're not holding your breath. You want to breathe normally throughout this. Okay, so if we're moving into some more challenging exercises later on, if you feel like you've lost that connection with your pelvic floor, with the deep core muscles, come back to this position, reset, forward and back, and find a halfway point. So come back at any time, reset. Okay, so maintaining that position now, pelvis in neutral position, belly button drawn down and in. Going to shrug around, wriggle our shoulders around a wee bit, and try and imagine your spine from your tailbone here, just the back side, your tailbone, right up through the back of your shoulders, up through the back of your neck, out through the crown of your head. Make that as long as possible. Okay, so we don't want to be lying tensed up on the mat. Just engage through the core, holding that neutral pelvis, and then a nice length through the rest of your spine. We're going to relax our shoulders just heavy into the mat. Really relax through the shoulder blades and the back of your rib cage. Allow it to sink down into the mat while keeping that slight bracing. Okay, and lastly, we'll pay attention to the breathing and don't get too focused on it here, okay? Just make sure we're not holding the breath. That's the main thing. But if you take your hands onto your rib cage, just with a wee breath in, you should feel the rib cage expand out into your hands. And breathe in, feel it just shrinking back in slightly. Trying to do that while keeping the core centered, so the belly button down and in, the pelvis neutral. Just a few breaths in your own time, feel the rib cage expand out and back in. Breathing wide into the rib cage without losing that neutral pelvis. Okay, so we'll keep it quite basic here now in the mat. Once we're well set up, should feel those tummy muscles slightly engaged. We're going to go into the 100 exercise. So belly button pulled in nice and tight. Focus on keeping that neutral pelvis. Okay, bring the left knee up. So straight away there, if you feel your lower back's just dropped into the mat, weren't engaged properly at the core. So you reset at that point, tummy in tight, bring the left knee up. Pull in nice and tight, making sure we're not losing that position. Bring the chin slowly towards the chest. Don't squeeze down to the chest, just slightly towards the chest. Nice length through the back of your neck and roll your shoulders up slightly. We're reaching along with the fingertips. Pull the belly button down and you should feel a deep contraction there. The tummy muscles really tightening up. And we'll breathe normally. Breathe in as we pulse the arms up and down for 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Palms down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Palms up, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 30. In, 2, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 40. Last 10. 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 50. Okay, roll the shoulders and head back down onto the mat. Keep the knee up. Tummy muscles still zipped up tight. Focus now on the hips. You can, if you're unsure what I'm talking about keeping the pelvis neutral, you can keep your fingers just on your hip bones. Don't hold it in place. Just keep your fingers there as a wee guide. It'll let you know if the hips are moving or not. So want to keep them still. So fingertips in your hips. Reach that left leg out long and straight and take it back in again. So bringing your shin just up into that flat tabletop position. Reach out long and bring it back in. So it's quite a comfortable wee movement, but you should feel the core engaged. All right, so normally if we hadn't set up properly and I asked you to lie down and move your leg in and out, it would be no problem, but your back might be arching up and down. We're engaged now at the core. We're using the core muscles, not cheating through the movement. Just one more time, breathing normally throughout. Keep the left knee up there so it's directly up above the hip bone. Pull down and in really tight through the tummy now. We're going to try and bring the right leg up as well without letting the hips move. Okay, brace tight. As we move through the exercise this evening, if we're doing something with the two legs up and you feel like you can't keep control, you can't keep the neutral pelvis, you can do all these exercises with one leg still down if you want to make it a bit easier. So we'll keep the two legs up for now. You should feel it quite a deep connection there in the tummy. We're going to tap the right toes in the floor, just like dipping it into hot water and back up, and then the left foot down and back up. Just strictly one leg at a time. As the right leg comes down, left leg's dead still. We'll just keep this going, breathing normally throughout. Pay attention to your pelvis and lower back. I'll just show you a bad one. If you're unsure what I mean, I'll show you a really bad rep as the right leg comes down. Don't want the back rolling up off the floor like that. Want to maintain that neutral position. Just keep alternating legs. I'm sure you are doing great. It's a pity I can't see you in action here, but we'll pause at the top. Tummy muscles still engaged. Lower the left foot onto the floor. Weight spread equally through the whole of that left foot. And we're going to go with the right leg only this time. Reach it out and back in. Reach it out and back in. Breathing normally again. Okay, so that position that we set up in at the very start. Pelvis neutral. Belly button drawn down and in slightly. Shoulder blades and upper back really relaxed, heavy into the mat. We shouldn't really have moved from here. Pause there with the right knee up in that tabletop position again. Hands on the hips now. We're going to add a wee hip twist motion. So with your hands on your hips, pay attention to what they're doing again. We don't want them moving at all. This time we're going to allow the right leg to come down to the side slightly and back up. Down to the side slightly and back up. I'll just turn to give you a better angle at that. So the pelvis, the hip bones are staying dead still, core still engaged. The right leg comes down to the side and back up. Down to the side, back up. Don't force the movement. If you go too far then the lower back rolls across, pelvis rolls over, and you lose that connection with the core. Breathe normally, nice and easy. Okay, we'll keep that right leg up there again. Zip up really tight through the tummy. Really tight now, just we're going to try and bring the left leg up here as well. Both legs up in the tabletop position for now. Draw down and in through the tummy, and we'll float the hands up towards the roof. Nice and easy. Okay, so we're trying to avoid letting the back arch up again from the upper back. We don't want the rib cage flaring up off the ground here. We're going to take the thumbs back towards the floor behind us, circle them around slowly to the sides and back up. Quite an easy movement here. Anybody with upper body mobility issues, this may be quite challenging. Breathe out into the movement. Try and get nice and free through the shoulders. Just another few here. Again, pay attention to the core. I want to still pull down in through the belly button. Do not let your back arch up off the ground. We'll do one more. Pause at the top. Hands back down by the sides or on the hips if you prefer. And we'll lower the right foot to the floor this time, keeping your left leg up in that tabletop position. Now, core braced, belly button pulled in. We'll take the hip twist on the left leg now. So it's down to the left, drawing at the tummy to help the leg back up. There's a couple of things to watch for. It's an easy movement to do wrong. Just a wee bit more work to do it right. We want to avoid letting the pelvis roll over to the side or your lower back roll over. And we want to avoid your standing leg or your right leg in this case following it. We'll just go with the left leg in the hip twist. It's good. We'll pause at the top. Going to take the two hands on top of that left knee. Try not to let your back push down into the ground in this one. Keep that slight engagement through the core. Two hands on top of the left knee and left shin and draw the leg back towards you. That's good. If you're comfortable here, we're going to reach the right leg out in front at the same time. If you're not comfortable, you can keep the foot on the floor. Okay, so just draw it back in slightly. We're not forcing our lower back into the ground. Keep the core, keep that neutral pelvis and change legs. So again, if you're on one foot there, or if you've one foot on the floor, you can keep that way. We're going to change legs. So it's up to you. One foot on the floor to make it a wee bit easier. Or one foot hovering out in front each time if you like. Alternating sides with the breath. Now breathe out each time we pull in the slight stretch. Big temptation here to start forcing it too much and pushing your lower back into the ground. Keep that neutral position. Okay, one more and we'll just bring the two knees back up into that tabletop position. Fingertips and the hips. Lower one foot to the floor. We're not dropping out of it. We'll always keep engaged. Lower the other foot down and relax. Okay, so just giving a wee bit of break for the abs here. Okay, so spread the weight equally through the feet, same as we did at the start. You can glance up if you're not sure. The feet shouldn't be away out to the sides. Okay, so a lot of people have these bad habits. The feet should be in line with your hips and knees. Spread the weight equally through both feet. We're going to take it up into a wee shoulder bridge, and what we're looking for here is loads of movement through the spine. It's not just a case of lifting your bum up off the ground. Try and roll back into it. And this one, think of loads of articulation through the spine. Okay, so your back or your spine is supposed to move. A lot of us protect it, then get that stiffness. So try and imagine each vertebra rolling up off the mat one at a time. The way that this is often described as like a bicycle chain. So from your tailbone down here up to the neck, imagine it's like a bicycle chain and you're just lifting one link up at a time. So spread the weight equally through both feet. We'll take our hands on our hips, just giving us a good guide, and we can go back into that like we did to try and find centre earlier. We rolled our hips forward, roll the hips back, roll forward and roll back, but this time keep rolling back. So your backside will lift off the floor with your tailbone, then your lower back, then your mid back, and right up onto your shoulders. Okay, so just up onto your shoulder blades, don't go as far as your neck. Anybody feeling any lower back pain with this, chances are you're forcing too high and you're just lifting with your back muscles. So you don't want to force too high. Squeeze the muscles here in the backside, so keep the backside tight. And the belly button drawn in slightly as well. So depending on your ability with this might be getting really challenging already through the back of your hamstrings, the back of the thighs, and your backside. If it is, roll back down in the same manner, one vertebra at a time. Take a wee break and roll back up. If you're comfortable with it, we're going to stay here. Okay, keeping the tummy tight, keeping the backside really tight. Common wee mistakes here is that you probably feel it, you might feel it in the front of your thighs. If that's the case, bring your feet further away from you. Walk your feet forward an inch or two and you'll feel the backside and hamstrings take over a bit more. Okay, so tummy tight, backside tight, hold that position. Haven't done this in a while myself, I'm feeling it here. Okay, so we're still nice and relaxed, heavy through the shoulder blades. We're going to roll our spine back down into the mat, one vertebra at a time. Think of that movement through the vertebra here, moving the spine. Use it and relax. Okay, from here we'll come up into a seated position now. If you like, you can try a roll up, they're quite challenging. Or if you'd rather just help yourself up with your hands on the floor, you can. Okay, we'll try a wee roll up in case somebody wants to try it. But it starts the same way we just moved through our spine there now for the shoulder bridge. We're going to do the same for the roll up, but starting from your head. So the chin comes slightly towards the chest, then your shoulders and upper back. Roll up off the mat, one vertebra at a time. And we'll find ourselves up into a nice stacked position, a nice tall straight spine. Okay, so if like me, you haven't got the flexibility to keep your legs straight and back straight at the same time, bend your knees slightly if you need to. Okay, so what we're focusing on here is from the tailbone right up to the top of your head, like a puppet and strings, as tall as you can be, possibly be up through your spine. Okay, so from here, we're going to take our hands just across the shoulders, elbows up slightly in front, and anchor the hips and backside into the ground. Don't want any movement in the lower body at all. We're just going to gently rotate through the upper back and rotate around the other way with your breath. So think about that height, that lift up through your spine each time we twist. You should feel a really nice rotation there through the mid-back, through the thoracic spine there. So nice and tall. Imagine you're lifting taller every time we twist. And pay attention to your legs. If you can see them or feel them moving in and out, we're letting too much movement come through the pelvis. Keep that stable and just breathe out into the twist through the spine. It should be starting to feel a wee bit freer than it did in the first one. In a week or two, we'll be able to turn right round to look behind us. Cracking myself up here. Okay, so sit up nice and tall again. Knees softly bent. Same theme here. Articulate the spine, use the spine, toes curl back towards you. Try not to let them flail out to the sides, so we don't want them dropping out to the sides. Keep them curled back, and we'll roll our chin towards our chest and long out over our toes. Just roll over. You feel a nice rounding out through your spine. Tummy drawn in slightly, and breathe. Breathe into the stretch. And relax, and then we'll sit up tall from there. Okay, coming slightly towards the front part of your mat, giving yourself a wee bit of room behind. Hands in behind your thighs. We're going to work the half roll back. So again, our knees are bent up, shoulders down and back. I'm thinking of that articulation again from the tailbone, the pelvis first. We're going to roll back into the mat. Tummy pulls in tight, and there's a wee gentle C curve right up through the upper back here. Okay, so from the tailbone up to your shoulder blades, there's kind of a C shape in your spine. Pull in at the tummy, lift the chest up nice and tall. We're back up to the top. Okay, so that movement comes from the pelvis. We're not going back with a stiff straight back. Try and roll back in your backside. Hold it for a second and then lift up nice and tall. I should have said at the start, the people that have been coming to me for Pilates for a long time, all these exercises, as you know how to make them harder, please feel free to make them harder. I know you probably haven't done it in a couple of weeks, but feel free to jump on, make them challenging as long as the basics are right. Okay, so we're rolling back. You shouldn't feel that stiff and sore in the lower back. We're moving, we're using that spine. Roll back into the ground and lift up nice and tall. We'll just take one more and we're going to stay back. Pull in at the tummy. If you find that too challenging, come straight back up to the top. If you're comfortable, we're going to roll right on down into the mat. Okay, so we're back into the same position we started with. Feet and knees about hip width apart. Hopefully I'm not moving too quick for anybody here, but I'd rather be going a wee bit too slow than too quick for our first night. Okay, so take a wee second, feet and knees hip width apart. Roll the pelvis forward and back again till we find centre. So forward and back, the lower back arches up, lower back presses down. And find that neutral position. Okay, and then from there, shoulders nice and heavy into the ground. Belly button drawn down in towards the spine. You should feel the tummy muscles just tightening up slightly straight away with that. We're going to go from there without letting the pelvis roll forward. Bring that left knee up into the tabletop position. Okay, so tummy muscles engaged. We're going to float our hands up towards the roof. Shoulders still really heavy in the ground, so we're not tensing up through the upper back. Shoulders are heavy and down away from your ears. And we still get that nice length through the back of your neck. Okay, so the wee arm circles that we did earlier, taking them round behind the head, circle around to the sides and back up. We're going to combine that with that single leg reach that we did near the start as well. So as the arms go out behind, reach the leg in front at the same time and draw them back in together. So the limbs are going to extremes here. Want to work that bit harder to keep the core, the pelvis in that neutral position. Just working through that movement nice and free. Feel a wee bit more freedom coming through the shoulders each time while we stay drawn down in through the belly button. And breathe normally again. Same themes throughout. Okay, we're going to pause at the top. Bring our hands back down by your sides or on the pelvis if you like that stability. Zip up as tight as we can. Draw the tummy muscles in as tight as possible now. Bring the right leg up as well. Okay, chin towards the chest, roll the shoulders up off the mat and reach long with the fingertips and back down again. Okay, so we'll try that again. I did it myself there. I let my lower back push down into the ground. I lost that neutral position, so we'll just try that again. Tummy muscles zipped up tight, roll the shoulders up and back down. Just a short wee lift, you'll feel it across the top of the abdominals. Really reach long with the fingertips. It starts with the chin tucking in gently, then the neck, the shoulders, upper back, roll up and roll back down. Okay, we'll pause there on the floor. Lower the left foot to the floor this time. Float the hands back up towards the roof, nice and loose, relaxed at the shoulders. We're going with the arm circles and the right leg reaching in front this time. Circling around overhead, back to the top together. Reach long, bring them back in together. We'll pause there at the top again. Hands on the hips or the floor if you like for that wee bit of help. Zip up the tummy muscles, brace as tight as possible. Don't lose that nice neutral spine that we've set up. Bring your left knee up now as well. Feel the core muscles just kick in straight away there. Fingertips in behind your head this time. Instead of rolling up straight, we're going to focus on lifting your right shoulder blade up off the mat. Roll up and across and back down. Keep the lower body still, belly button drawn down and in. We don't want it doming up. Lift your left shoulder up and across the body. Imagine you're trying to bring that right shoulder up to fold it over onto the left hip. Roll up. We're supporting the weight of your head. We're not pulling on the neck. Don't pull the neck. Roll the right shoulder up. Roll it back down. Each time we roll up, we're trying to draw the belly button down and tight. Like I said at the start, if you find these exercises too challenging, 1 foot on the floor makes them easier straight away. 2 feet on the floor makes them that bit easier again, but you should still be feeling that same neutral pelvis, same engagement through the core. Last few seconds here. And relax your head and shoulders onto the floor. Bring one foot down slowly with control, other foot down. Hands towards the roof. We'll try the wee roll-ups. These were always popular in the class here. Okay, if you find them too challenging, don't force it. We're not jumping up off the ground, okay? That's only going to hurt your neck and shoulders. Roll up as far as you feel you can. If you get kind of caught about here, hold on to your thighs and help yourself up. Alright, so don't worry about how graceful it looks. There's nobody else watching you. Alright, so we're going to come from here into a lie-in position. Alright, so if we lie down onto our side, in this position here, you might like to have the cushion just to rest under your shoulder. We're going to take a wee 10-minute nap, recharge for the second half. So if you like, you can have the cushion just to keep the neck. What we're looking for is keeping the neck in that nice neutral position. If you don't want to use it, it's fine. You can support the weight of your head with your hand. So from here, I'm going to take your top hand on top of your top hip. Reach the top leg as long in front of you as you can. Your bottom knee slightly bent in front. You're going to reach that top leg as long out through your heel as possible. So we're stretching out through the heel. Relax again and reach again. So just pay attention to what your waist is doing here near the mat. Relax again and reach with the heel again. Each time you reach there, hopefully you feel a wee gap opening up below your waist. Right, where there's either a gap or you're not lying as heavy on the mat. So what we're looking for is to maintain that wee gap. So reach the heel out in front, or out as far away as you can, away from you, and you should feel a wee gap there below your waist. Try and maintain that now. Tummy muscles drawn in tight. Bring your heels and toes together with your two knees bent slightly in front. Hopefully we've still that wee gap below the waist here, that's important. Okay, top hand on top of your hip. Very easy to miss this position. I'll recap on it plenty of times, don't worry. You're going to lift your 2 feet up without letting your waist push into the ground too much. We're still trying to keep that neutral pelvis. Lift your 2 feet up together and you should hopefully see them in line with your hip and shoulder. Okay, so from here, keeping your heels and toes together, keeping this top hip still and keeping your waist, that wee gap below the waist. We're going to lift the top knee up and lower it back down. Lift up and back down. Okay, this is the clams. This is jumping straight into a level 2 or level 3 climb. It's quite challenging. If you find that too difficult, you can keep both feet on the floor. But I'd find most people are not happy, but able to jump into this one with the feet elevated. Okay, so just keep that going. We're going to keep this going for a wee while now, and you should be starting to feel it at the very top of your backside, just below the line of your waistband, at the very top of the backside. Couple of wee points to pay attention to is that we're not lifting the toes or heels apart. Keep your heels and toes together. When we lift that knee, watch that this top hip doesn't roll back. I'll just exaggerate a couple of really bad movements here. Don't want the hip to roll back. And lastly, I don't want the waist to drop into the ground. We'll keep that going. Just common wee mistakes here is that we're allowing the hip to drop back towards us. Keep that hip reaching away. That's why we reached our leg out in front or away from us at the start. So keep that wee clam feeling going at the very top of your backside. Hopefully now this is really starting to burn. If this was a class, I'd be getting up walking around to check everybody and giving myself a break. We're into the last 3 minutes of this exercise. Keep going. Okay, hold that position now. Hold that strength through the core. Top hand on the floor for a bit of balance. Reach the top leg long with your toes this time and relax your bottom leg on the ground. So that wee muscle that we're working should feel stretched out, should still feel tired as carrying our weight here. Reach out long with the toes. Sweep the leg up in front of you. Curl your toes in and squeeze the leg back behind you slightly. Don't bend the knee. Toes pointed to sweep forward. Curl the toes in to squeeze back. All the while keeping the core engaged. Last few, we'll not do this too long. Toes pointed, sweep forward, curl the toes in to squeeze back. If that's too difficult, you can do it with the knee bent. Bring the leg forward, bring the leg back. But if you can, keep a long sweeping motion on the way forward. One more time, we'll bring the leg up in front, curl the toes back towards you, and draw a wee circle with that heel for 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay, that should feel absolutely horrible in a good way. Okay, I'm going to try this wee exercise. I'll not do it for too long in case we can't hear properly with the wee microphone here. Fell off me. We're lying down on your front now, lying down on your tummy. Technical issues here. Sorry, just give me a wee second. It's bound to be awful to be listening to. Okay, so lie down in our tummy here for this one. Okay, forehead on the floor, chin tucked in gently, and belly button drawn up and in. Quite challenging to do in this position. And we're going to take our palms or our hands towards the roof, but reaching down past our sides. Okay, so from here, I'll try and just keep your forehead on the mat for now. But we're going to lift our shoulder blades up towards your ears and up towards the roof. Okay, and then from there, try and slide them down in your back. Reach the fingertips long behind you. Your head and your chest might lift off the floor slightly. Reach the fingertips long behind you. And relax back down to the mat. You should feel a wee bit of work through your upper back here, hopefully. Okay, so we'll try that again. Lift your shoulders up, shrug them up towards your ears, and then lift them up towards the roof. From here, your hands are lifting as well. Reach the fingertips way down as if we're trying to touch your heels. You'll feel the shoulder blades sliding down through your back, towards your back pockets. And relax. We'll just do that a couple more times here. Shoulders shrug up towards your ears, lift them up towards the roof, and reach long with the fingertips towards your heels. And relax. We'll do one more. When we shrug the shoulders back at the end of that movement, you should feel the shoulder blades squeezing towards each other. We'll try that again. Shoulders up towards your ears, lift them towards the ceiling, and reach long with the fingertips. We'll hold this one. Okay, tummy pulled in quite tight. Reach long with the fingertips. Turn your palms towards the floor, your palms towards the ground. Reach further. Palms back towards the roof. And relax. Okay, and from there, come up onto your hands and knees. We'll take a wee stretch. Just going to sit back onto your heels and reach the fingertips long out in front. We'll hold that stretch and breathe wide into it. Feel a nice stretch up through the side of your back. I'll try and fix this wee microphone here. Okay, hopefully we'll hang in here now. We'll come from there just up onto our hands and knees. Everyone can still hear me okay? Alright, so up onto your hands and knees. We're not going to do this too long. Now over the coming weeks we will spend a wee bit of time in this position. But if you feel it too sore in your wrists, we want the hands under your shoulders. It's quite common that this can be quite sore in your wrist. If that's the case, take your hands slightly further in front of the shoulders. Ideally we'll have them directly down below them. If you glance back at your knees here, they should be directly underneath your hips as well. Okay, if you want to take a wee look at the camera, quite common in this case where people might have their knees too far back. Want them straight down from the hips. So before we get into the exercise here, we'll try and get that movement or articulation through the spine that we talked about at the start. So rolling the pelvis. That's why we started in the mat. It's harder to get a feel for it here when you're in a kneeling position. But roll the pelvis, feel your back, pull your backside in really, and release it again. So tuck in your tailbone, like tucking in your tail underneath you. You feel your lower back curve up, and then release. Now in this one we're going to go a bit further. Tuck the tailbone in, and feel that movement work its way up through the spine, one vertebra at a time, up as far as your shoulder blades. We'll finish with a gentle tuck in of the chin towards the chest, not forcing it. And then from there, taking your belly button or your bottom rib towards the mat so that your back arches the other way. We'll just keep that going another time or two. So start from your tailbone here, pull in first, roll the spine up, And drop back down through your belly button. Shoulders are drawn down and away from your ears. We're just going to come up and down. I know a lot of people can find this movement hard to get their heads around it, but just roll up and down. Think about your spine here, just each wee unit or each vertebra moving by itself, rolling up from the tailbone first up as far as your shoulder blades, gently tucking in the chin, and roll back down. Feeling loads of nice movement there. Okay, and then when we're ready, find a halfway point between those two extremes. So it should be quite a long straight back from your tailbone to the top of your head, nice and long. I'll just show you a couple of bad habits here again. Don't lift the chin up in front. We're not looking out in front. Keep your eyes towards the mat, so with that nice length through the back of your neck. It's just part of your spine. Okay, chin tucked up and in gently. Belly button pulled up and in quite tight as well. So again, imagine that top button in the jeans is tight and we're trying to tuck it in. Not that anybody in this class would understand that, but it's just something I'd know. But we'll curl your toes in towards you. Belly button pulled up and in. Take a wee breath in to get set. Alright, so we want to keep the core pulled in tight. Don't lose that position. Wee breath in to get ready. And then on your breath out, lift your knees an inch off the ground, just the tiniest wee bit. And you should feel that kick straight in around your tummy muscles. We're just going to hold there. If you find that too challenging, take a wee breath and set your knees down again. Reset when you're ready, belly button pulled in again, lift the knees an inch off the ground. If you're comfortable with it, just stay up there a wee bit longer. I'll not do it tonight, but if anybody's comfortable and knows what they're doing, go on out into that extended plank. Belly button pulled in nice and tight. Lift the knees. And set them back down again. Okay, from there we'll come back round onto our backside. Hopefully you can all still hear me okay. If it's handy to someone, can you stick a thumbs up if the sound's okay? Since I had that microphone trouble. No thumbs up. Are we still live? We'll carry on anyway regardless. Hopefully it's recording something. Alright, so sit up nice and tall. Stack the spine up, similar to what we did. I'll show you from the side here. That tall lift, chin tucked in from tailbone to the top of the head. Okay, so we're here earlier in the session. That tall stacked up spine. We did a spine twist from here. This time we're going to float the arms up to the sides, slightly in front of you. That's a wee thumbs up there, that's lovely. Okay, so up nice and tall. Same as before, backside's anchored to the ground. Don't let it twist and turn. We're going to rotate through the spine, the upper body, and rotate around the other way. Breathe with the movement. Rotating one way, and then the other. And if you think of lifting taller every time we twist, lengthen that spine up tall. And the main bad habit here again, if you watch my feet, is that the legs start twisting in and out. I'm exaggerating this greatly, but if you see your toes curling in and out at all, anchor the hips down that wee bit tighter, tummy tight, and work through the upper back. You feel a lovely rotation. Think of the spinal column, and we're just twisting and turning it, giving us loads of freedom through your back. So by the end of this session, you should be about 3 inches taller at least. And relax. Okay, we'll bring our fingertips out in front, just about shoulder height. Feet and knees hip width apart. Chin towards the chest, roll out, reaching long out over the toes. Keep that wee bit of height in your reach. And then stack the spine up nice and tall again. Sitting up nice and tall, roll out in front. And stack it up nice and tall. Let's keep that flowing. Show you from the side. Roll forward, breathe out into it. Roll up tall, stack up tall. Alright, if you're struggling to get the back straight, bend your knees slightly. And relax. Okay, so still facing this way, still with that lift through the spine, still with your hips and backside anchored to the ground. You don't want to be lifting one cheek at a time here. I'm going to lift one arm up and over the top. Think about that lift through your spine now. One arm up and over the top. As we start to reach over the top, the temptation is to lift this hip. Keep it grounded, keep it stuck to the floor. Breathe long into the stretch. You feel a lovely stretch here near the bottom of the rib. Breathe with it. Reach, reach, reach long and high over the top. And relax. We're going to lift up and over. You probably know by looking at me, but this is called the mermaid stretch. It's a bit of a giveaway when you see how well I do it. And relax. Okay, so we lift up tall again. We're going to come down onto lying on the side lying position on your other side this time. So same as before, if you like having the wee cushion under your shoulder, under your head, that's fine. Help yourself there now, just get ready. Okay, and with our knees bent slightly in front of you, if you're familiar with the climb and you're well used to it, carry on straight into it. I'm going to run through these wee checkpoints again. So with our knees bent slightly in front of you, if you lift your 2 feet, you should see them in line with your hip and shoulder. Straight line, okay? And then just to get our hips in the right position, we're going to reach that top leg, the heel out as far as possible. So reaching the heel long out in front. As we reach that heel, you should feel a wee gap there below your waist. That's the idea. If you're not sure, just relax. Don't reach as far. You'll feel your waist drop. Reach out and relax. Reach out. Keep it out this time, but bend the knee back to where it was. So we've got that wee gap now below our waist. That's our pelvis in a neutral position. Top hand on top of the hip, and lift your 2 feet again in line with the hip and shoulder. So from here, we're going to lift the top knee without separating the feet. So lift the top knee without letting the hip roll back, and lift the top knee without letting your waist push into the floor. Okay. We'll keep that going. Hopefully everybody's feeling that. You should feel it right at the top of your backside. It should be quite nasty, that one, if we get it right. So a lot of people with back trouble, there's a wee weakness in that wee muscle there at the top of your backside, and this can help it greatly. Okay, so just going to keep that going. Let's go back to, just as a wee reminder of what I said at the very start, bad habits and pushing things too hard. If we haven't got the basics right in this exercise, for example, if we're not set up properly, it's very easy. You'll swing that leg round, no problem. But all you're doing there is working the leg muscles and the lower back muscles. We're trying to be very precise in Pilates. Another name for it that the fella that created it is called controlology, where you're in full control of each movement. Okay, so it's a lovely crossover to other parts of your training once you start being more aware of your body and what muscles we're working. Hopefully that wee spiel just distracted you from that pain at the top of your backside. Literal pain in the arse. Okay, I nearly forgot the wee side kicks, but we better do them. Relax the bottom leg down now, still keeping that core position. Reach your top leg as long as possible. Toes pointed, we're going to sweep the leg forward, toes curled in, squeeze back. Sweeping forward and squeeze back. Don't force it, okay? If you force this movement as well, you'll feel your back starting to crunch up and down, your chest moving forward. We're only moving from here down, from the hip down. And your last one, will keep the leg in front as far as you feel you can. Toes curl back towards you and draw a wee circle with that heel. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay, so we're into the last minute or two now. I'll just ask you to turn onto your back again. Okay, so we'll get set up here again, the same as we did at the very start. Hopefully you'll get very familiar with this quickly and won't need me to keep telling you, but feet and knees hip width apart, weight spread equally through both feet. Roll the pelvis forward and back a time or two, and then find a halfway or a neutral position between the two extremes. Automatically there you should be sort of drawing the belly button down and in, engaging those core muscles, and we're heavy, sunken back through the shoulder blades. Okay, so we're going to roll from here, so nice and heavy in the shoulders. Roll the hips on back further, so that we roll forward and back. Roll on back further, peel up off the floor, and we're up into the shoulder bridge again. So we did this earlier in the class, but you should feel it a bit more now after doing those climb exercises. So tummy muscles tight, backside tight. And a quick check on the bad habits. Careful that we haven't got our feet too far back towards us. You'll feel it then in the thighs. We want to feel it on the back of the thighs, the hamstrings. Okay, and more importantly, careful that we're not forcing up as high as you can, because that's the lower back takes over. Keep the tummy tight, backside tight. That's as high as we need to be. Like we did at the start, if you find that too challenging, roll the spine back down, take a wee break, and roll back up. Loads of movement. Flow through the spine. If you're comfortable, I'll just finish with a wee flourish here. If you're comfortable, keep your hands on your hips, making sure we're holding that same bridge height. I'm going to slowly bring all the weight onto one foot and bring your other leg back up towards you. Now you feel that just click straight into the back of your thigh and backside. If the hip's starting to drop to the side here, if you're losing control of it, go back to both feet. Tummy tight. Slowly lower that foot back to the floor. Check in again, make sure we're bridged properly, so squeezing at the glutes, tummy pulled in. Slowly transfer all the weight onto your other foot and bring your other knee up. Pause there. If you feel that creeping under your lower back here, just go through those wee pointers, tummy in, squeeze the glutes. If you still feel it in your back, go back to both feet. Always make the exercise easier. We're not looking for pain. So we'll lower both feet to the floor. I wonder how many people at home have just dropped out of this. What we're actually going to do is roll our spine down, one vertebra at a time. Controlology, always in charge of it. Hands up towards the roof again, float your arms up towards the roof. Chin towards the chest and peel your spine up off the floor. Very challenging, don't jump up from it. Hold on to the thighs if you need to. Stack the spine up tall, toes curl back, and we'll finish with one long stretch out over the top, roll forward through the spine. A few nice deep breaths there, we're just going to relax into that. And relax. Okay, that's the first one done. All right, so it was all the basics covered on those three positions, really: lying on your front, on your hands and knees, and lying on your back. I didn't want to make it too easy either. I know that a lot of you have done it before, so I tried to get a wee blend. Hopefully it was okay. Just want to say, before we wrap up this first one, thank you very much everybody for the amount of support. I can't believe the amount of you that have joined in to try it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it if you haven't done it before. There's a few people really pushed it and sharing it. It's so appreciated. Thank Cahill Fee as well for his help and helping me show the Facebook group and all that, because I'm not in the technology, but Cahill's taking a hit session twice a week if you want to check him out. And I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, the wee bit of guitar. That's my brother Owen. He's sitting over in the corner there. No, he made a recording for me for the class, so hopefully you can all hear it at least. And then lastly, please leave any feedback, good or bad. Bad especially, I suppose, if there's anything that you'd like to see done differently, or anything you'd like to see me working on or adding to the class or taking away from the class. Hopefully the sound was okay, the lighting and all that, etc. So that's it, that's the first one over, and hopefully we'll have many more. Okay, thank you. Good night. Go and finish your wine, Joanne. That's my sister-in-law there. Thank you.